All right, so sure. All right, so let's talk about it. Let's put that like over that side there. All right, so everybody's talking about. So I said, might as well talk about it. Talk about astrologically. Make a little bit educational. Then also just kind of get into some details. Won't make this too long. So I want to talk about the similarities between the Chris and Will, Chris Rock and Will Smith. So it's the highlight topic around the world right now. And first of all, I'm going to say Will Smith, I'm not mad at you. Chris Rock, should have drew a line, I guess, a long time ago, because I guess it's been said that, they've asked him to, you know, not always have him in their jokes, and, it would have been just respectful things for him to do to just shut the fuck up. Especially, coming after somebody's, the balls. Well, I guess that's the Aries energy in him. So anyways, we'll start with Chris since he's on top. He is an 11th house Aquarian sun with the first house Aries moon, Aries rising. Will Smith is 11th or 5th house Libra sun with a 6th house Scorpio moon and Gemini rising. Now, the similarities between the two, they're both air signs. One's a Libra, one's an Aquarius, both known for talking shit. Both really good, with communication. Both really good at being able to be assertive. All the air signs are very good at being assertive if they need to. One is a fixed sign, the other one is a cardinal. Cardinals, more action orientated. Fixed is more fixed in their ways. And what's really even interesting too is they both have a moon that is both ruled by Mars and Pluto. I go by the old school. I do go by the Aries is co-ruled by Pluto, just like Scorpio is. I don't like the whole new tradition of Pluto only ruling Scorpio. No, Pluto rules Scorpio and Aries, because Aries goes through just as much transformation and bullshit, just like Scorpio does, just different. The difference is Aries is the yang part of it, the light side, and Scorpio is the yin, the dark side. So when you're talking about like a yin yang, so the light and dark, the feminine, the masculine aspects of it. So they both have moons that are ruled by Mars and Pluto. Both of them are air sign suns. And what's even really more interesting is Chris having an 11th house sun and Will Smith having a 5th house sun. That's Leo and Aquarius energy, because those are the original homes of Aquarius and Leo. So it's basically like air going against fire, fire against air. And of course, air signs, really good for, running their mouth, and fire signs are really good at being, a little bit more action orientated, like, lighting some fire into somebody's ass. And they both have Mars and Virgo, which is kind of what I find interesting. Well, the only difference, though, is Chris Rock has his Mars retrograde. So, and I have a retrograde Virgo Mars. So, the difference, though, is usually Mars, when it's retrograde, will kind of pull back a little bit. And that with being action oriented for things, like, they might sit and stew on something before being action oriented, compared to somebody who doesn't have a retrograde Mars. They might do a little bit more reflecting when it comes to, with their anger, stuff like that, instead of just, balls out, just getting all into that, that Martian Mars, warrior energy, compared to somebody who doesn't have like a retrograde. I thought it was interesting that Will Smith had a 4th house Mars, which that says a whole lot right there. But I am not even gonna get into that. But so the similarities between the sun and moon, and also to the sun placements being opposing each other, if you were to do an overlay of the chart. Another thing to point out is Will Smith has his sun conjunct Uranus. And Uranus is what? It's the planet of it's unpredictable. It's a planet of I do what I want. I go against the grain. I mean, it's the only planet that transits on its side. It's individuality. It's unpredictable. It's like you never know what the fuck's gonna happen. So, and then I thought it was really cool to see here that Will Smith has his Venus in his 6th house, which gives him that Virgo energy. The 6th house is the original home of Virgo. And usually, sorry about that. And generally, a lot of times when people have, like, a Venus in Virgo or Venus in 6th house, and of course, Venus is debilitated there because it's exalted in Pisces and debilitated in Virgo. It's like, so when it's a debilitated Venus, they usually have a beautiful wife. Very beautiful, a wife that, that is, looking at from a male's point, or even a female that has a Venus in Virgo or in the 6th house, that, they'll have a partner that is just like, I call the Ken and Barbie dolls. I call Virgos the Ken and Barbie dolls of the zodiac, because they're just perfect. just on point. They leave the house on point. They look like they just stepped out of a fucking like a GQ magazine. So Will Smith, so it shows here, that so Will Smith does, date very just beyond beautiful women. To where Chris Rock, with him having a Venus in a Aquarius, so he's like a little bit more somebody who's a little bit more eccentric. You can even say eccentric looking or eccentric in personality. Both their Venuses is conjunct to Mercury, so communication there. Both can be very romantically, when it comes to like communication and all that matters of, I'm not gonna say love and like romance stuff. And I noticed that they both have really strong Jupiters when it comes to money, because Jupiter's pretty well in Taurus, and Jupiter's pretty well in the fifth house. Just kind of been, kind of looking at their placements of everything, And then another thing I wanted to point out is Will Smith has a North Node in Aries, and anybody that has a North Node in Aries, they're the ones that they don't back down, because Aries, that's that warrior energy, they normally will not step away from a fight. They're just it's kind of one of those, that energy of if you don't bring none, there won't be none, and if you do, they'll finish it. Aries North Node people can be very aggressive if you just, especially if you keep stepping on their toes or you keep fucking with them, they will explode. Chris Rock has his North Node in Gemini. And Will Smith has his moon conjunct to his Neptune. So, that's really good for, because Neptune rules over, TV, movies, anything that takes out of reality, stuff like that. Chris Rock has his moon in the first house, which, first house moons, I have a first house moon. First house moons, they reflect into they aspect into the seventh house of other people. So a lot of times, they usually do really well with other people, that moon shines on with other people in partnerships and everything, to where Will Smith has a sixth house moon, so his moon is aspecting in the 12th house, and 12th house, which rules over behind the scenes, travel, long distance travel, 11th house, or 12th house is a very spiritual house. Now, Will has a 12th house Saturn. That's very karmic. And then Chris Rock has 11th house Saturn, which Saturn is the creator of the 12th house. And 12th house, is the house of endings, and Saturn rules over, things that are karmic, time, delay, old age, stuff like that. And Chris Rock, so has his Saturn. So Saturn's at work, 11th house at home in the 10th house, or Saturn's at work in Aquarius and at home in Capricorn. So looking at just a couple other things here. So Libras usually are very diplomatic. They're all about balance. They're all about things being fair. But the one thing, with Libras, they can be very diplomatic, but yeah, if they get pushed to the limit, they can only take so much. They will flip their fucking lid, and a lot of times it's usually something over major disrespect, over something that they have. It's usually something that they have tolerated for so long, and they just fucking can't do it anymore. They're just done, and that's usually when a Libra will explode. Aquarius, usually if it's something having to do with with them, for the exploder to kind of get aggressive, is usually if it's somebody trying to basically rule over them, trying to take their freedom away, or freedom of self-expression, or try to tell them who they can be. But Will Smith definitely, he's got that aspect with the Sun conjunct Uranus, so that makes it very unpredictable, unexpected, and he has been very unpredictable, very unexpected, within his whole career. I mean, he's done things that we would have never thought that the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would have ever dreamed of doing. I mean, he really took advantage of that fifth house, the Sun. That fifth house is center stage and everything, it's that Leo energy, and of course Chris Rock, his Sun aspects to fifth house being in the 11th, but the networking, 11th house Sun. Also, to wherever the Sun sits, it can burn significance of things, and but I really thought that was interesting, with their suns being opposing each other in the opposite houses, and Saturn right now is in Aquarius, and yeah, so we should, could have, been a little, because Saturn suppresses things. It slows things down, it holds things back. And with Saturn transiting through Aquarius right now, Chris Rock could have kind of sort of suppressed and kind of held back a little bit more. And then Will Smith has his Saturn is like just bam, like right there, real close. I mean, oh boy, he almost had the North Node on his Saturn if he would have been born any later. The Mars, though, like I said, they both have it in Virgo. It's a mutable sign. Mutable signs are naturally unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. They can be very explosive. You never know. Um, and of course, Will has his Mars in a cardinal house, which is very action orientated. Chris Rock has his Mars in the sixth house, which is mutable, which um, it could change up. But again, his is retrograde, so of course it's not going to be um, overly aggressive as of Mars not being in a retrograde. And yeah, I just wanted to just kind of point out those similarities there. And yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end with that. I also wanted to point out too, like Will Smith has a nice kite in aspecting in his chart, and Chris Rock he has a trine between his Jupiter, Neptune, and his Sun. Um, that's a really good making money aspect. Also too with shows like it's TV fame, stuff like that, because with that Neptune. And Will Smith has a kite with his Saturn to his Mars to his Neptune. So, oh, sorry, got notifications coming in. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and end here. Might do a part two. Maybe go a little bit more in detail on some aspects.